How would you say that traditional Judaism views that bitter controversy in hindsight after hundreds of years?
So I'll tell you a beautiful story, mamish, a beautiful story. The story is found in a number of sfarim. I don't have it in front of me, but I have all the references, and it will be in my forthcoming book, Mirz Hashem. And this was brought to my attention by Dr. Schneier Lyman, who is the Gadol Shebegdolim. I'm a Katan Shebektanim on Rabbi Jacob Emden compared to Reb Schneier. Reb Schneier knows Kala Terakula about Kala Terakula, and in addition about Rabbi Jacob Emden and Rabbi Yonatan Eybeshutz and the controversy. So we have a Masorah. The Masorah is as follows. Rabbi Yonatan died in 1766. Rabbi Yonatan was buried in the Chelkas HaRabbanim in the Kenigstrasse cemetery in Altona, which is still standing today. I've been there already 4 times, and you can go there. It's in the middle of the city. It's like hard to believe that the Nazis, Mamish Kihuzeh, didn't touch it. It looks in 2022 like it looked in 1822 and in 1722. It's amazing. 1766, Rabbi Yonatan dies, and there's a special Chelkas HaRabbanim, a rabbinic area in the cemetery. He's buried. And Mrs. Eybeshutz is buried next to him. And Chashav Yidden are buried in that area. In 1776, Rabbi Jacob Emden dies. And there's only room in the Chelkas HaRabbanim on the row where Rabbi Yonatan is buried. He dies, he's nifter on a Friday, Erev Shabbos. And the Chevra Kadisha wants to do the kfura before Shabbos. I mean, that's our tradition. You don't hang around. Once you determine for sure that a nifter is nifter, you want to do the right thing as soon as possible. So they're running out of time. They don't know what to do because they're a little bit uncomfortable. You know, should we bury him so close to Rabbi Yonatan, the same row? After all, their whole lives. And there happens to be a tzavah of Rabbi Yehuda Chassid. In the tzavah of Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, you don't bury 2 enemies next to one another. So the story is told that the Noda B'Yehuda happened to be visiting Altona that time. There was no chief rabbi for the last couple of years already. There were 2 chief rabbis after Rabbi Yonatan. They both died after 2 years. And the Tuvei Ha'ir realized that something not right is happening. As long as Rabbi Jacob Emden is still alive, we're bringing in outside chief rabbis. They're dying young. So they decided that as long as Rabbi Jacob Emden is alive, they're not making him chief rabbi, but they're going to hold off. So he ends up paskening a lot of shilas. So there's no chief rabbi. They have nobody to ask. Noda B'Yehuda, Baruch Hashem, got a call from Rabbi Ezekiel Landau was in town. They now got 7.5 minutes before Shabbos. They run to the Noda B'Yehuda. What should we do? So the story is told that the Noda B'Yehuda said the following. What were Rabbi Jacob Emden's last words? And the story is told that they told him his last words were, quote, Shalom Alecha Abba, Shalom Alecha Rabbi Yonatan, end quote. Says the Helen Noda B'Yehuda is a siman min hashamayim that they made peace. Put him in right there. And they put him in right there. And when you go, should you so be moved to travel to Altona and go to the cemetery, and I think it's really very, very special. They're buried five graves, one from the other. They're mamish atudua. There's Mrs. Emden in the middle, and there's Mrs. Eybeshutz in the middle. They're right there. Because the Masorah tells us, as min hashamayim, haben sie gemacht shalom. The Chassam Sofer used to keep the Kresi Uplesi and the Yaris Davash over here, and the Shelas Yavitz and the Moritzi over here. Story is told. I wasn't there. Azay Zok Menibber. One day he comes into his Besmedrish and he sees them next to one another on this farm shack. Oh, it's a siman min hashamayim. You ask, what's the afterlife of this controversy? We're not garis it as a controversy today. Today we hold the Rebbe Rabbi Yonatan in the highest regard in the Olam HaYeshivas. We hold Rabbi Jacob Emden in high regard. We learned the Maraktzia, we learned the Kresi Uplesi, we learned the Tumim, the Urim, the Tumim. He's a Gedolei Yisrael whose life and whose teachings continue to reverberate. In the Olam HaYeshivas, they're not at all geiris Rabbi Yonatan Eybeshutz as having any issues. The academic world, they're convinced that, you'll forgive me, Eybeshutz was a Sabbatian. I gave a talk at Hebrew University, and I was excoriated that I didn't explicitly refer to Rabbi Yonatan as a Sabbatian. So I live in a shtickle of two worlds. You know, I have a PhD from Harvard, Boltzmann Gemeint. I'm a shtickle academic, but then I'm try to be an Erlich Yid. So I'm like the different parts of me. But I'm fine. I am where I am. I'm a happy guy, Baruch Hashem. But in terms of our world, these are two great rabbis whose life's work continued to illuminate us, and Emir Hashem will for many decades to come.
This has been wonderful. We can go on, and urge all our viewers and listeners to look up Schachter's works on not only on Rabbi Emden, but of course on Rabbi Emden and all the other works. And again, thank you so much for.
You're so welcome.